Alrighty, welcome back for another episode of Two Plane Sports. Today it's Thursday, January 4th, and there's been a little bit of action today on the defensive coordinator role. The long rumored is Ted Roof going to stay. I thought he was going to stay for a while, and if you've been paying attention to Twitter or anything or any of the reports out of the university, Ted Roof and OU has decided to part ways. So we're going to talk about that development. And then also within the last few minutes of us recording this video, Zach Alley has been identified and is the targeted new defensive coordinator for Oklahoma. So we got a lot to unpack here on the coaching front here. And but before we do, be sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel. I think we're 50 subscribers away from 6,200. Help us get us there. Hit the subscribe button. Follow us on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, Apple, Spotify, and TikTok. Everything's linked in the description below. And remember, we go live every Tuesday night at 8:30 p.m. Central. So be sure to turn that notification bell on. It helps remind you to jump in on the live stream or anytime a video is posted. So as I said, Oklahoma, after a couple of years with Ted Roof as the defensive coordinator, has decided to part ways. Ted Roof had an opportunity to stay on the staff in a different role, but I can't necessarily blame him. It's kind of hard whenever you're the defensive coordinator at a university and then you're asked to basically take a demotion. It's kind of a hard thing to do. So I don't necessarily blame him, but it was nice that Venables offered that to him and obviously respects him and values his input. But ultimately, it always felt like Ted Roof was almost a crutch or a little bit of like
Damn.
well, I don't want to say the thing is he needed someone to be pretty seasoned and experienced and not a new up and coming coach. It always felt like that Ted Roof wasn't going to be here for the next 10 years. I mean, am I wrong in saying that?
No, I agree. Yeah, no, I agree. I mean,
he's been good. I mean, he
he's
obviously
solid.
has improved Oklahoma from what it was in 2022 to 2023. Whether that was all him or not, I wouldn't say it's all him, but he's a solid coach, and he was able to basically provide some stability for Venables until he was ready to kind of take this leap. What do you think about Ted Roof being relieved of his duties and that whole ordeal?
I mean, first, yeah, I think you got to wish him well because I agree with
Yeah.
you. I mean, he improved both years he was here from 2022 to 2023. There was improvement. He improved an Alex Grinch-led defense that was horrendous. But I mean, again,
Historically bad.
I think you and I may have improved an Alex Grinch-led defense if we just called a blitz play every time or something. I don't know. If we just asked Madden, we could have probably called a better defense than Alex Grinch. So yeah, it sucks for him that he's leaving. I guess that he was asked to take a lesser role. So I mean, I'm with you on that. But I think this Zach Alley hire is, I mean, just to jump ahead a little bit, is exciting. And I think George Stoller reported it. It's a move for Brent Venables where he feels that, and a guy with Zach Alley that he trusts. He worked with him at Clemson when Zach Alley was a GA. He recommended him for the Louisiana Monroe DC job when he got that one. I think Brent Venables is trying, according to the report that I read, he's trying to take a more CEO type look, as you mentioned before we started recording, which is what the good ones do. So Brent's got a lot of trust in this new cat. He's young. I'm excited to see the program going forward with him.
It's exciting. Initially, whenever Ted Roof was relieved of, his position, at least in our group text and things what we've been talking about for years now, it felt like, the natural progression would have been someone internal that, like a Jay Valai or a Todd Bates or someone in that realm.
Brandon Hall. Yeah, there's a lot of names I thought
Yeah,
of
Brandon
first.
Hall.
Yeah.
It always felt like, that they would, one of them would be the next guy. And obviously it's not, and not saying that's anything against them, none of them really have the experience to at least being a defensive coordinator, even if it's at a Jacksonville State or something like that, or Louisiana Monroe. At least, I mean, that experience is very valuable no matter what level you're at. So I could see the argument where you're like, well, I can't just hire someone that's never been a defensive coordinator in their life at the University of Oklahoma. And that very well might be it. I guess the one thing I'm just hoping is no one feels like internally that should have been their job. And not saying that it is. I'm not saying that there's any reports that they're upset. I'm sure they're going to be taken care of financially and things like that. But it's kind of, when you think about it in the business world, what we do and where we work, if you feel like you had the opportunity or you should have been the next person up, and then they go out and go hire someone externally, it kind of sucks.
Especially a guy as
And
young as Zach Alley is, right?
yeah, and then but maybe there's the counterpoint of Zach Alley's really young, and like a Jay Valai and a Brendan Hall and a Todd Bates are going to be extremely involved, and it's not going to truly be Zach Alley's way or the highway, but they're all very familiar. I mean, you look at Todd Bates, you look at Miguel Chavis, Brendan Hall. They all have previous coaching experience with Zach Alley, so this isn't a total like brand new person, which that has to be a help, and at least someone you feel confident in. But if Zach Alley is as good as he is, Zach Alley's not going to be here for 10 years
No.
because he's going to get scooped up.
But
So
that's what you
could the
want. I
argument,
mean, you want these
yeah,
guys to get head coaching jobs eventually. That's a sign of a good coordinator. But keep going. Sorry.
no, and I was just going to say, and maybe the argument is like a Jay Valai or Brendan Hall are going to become more and more involved in the calling the plays or putting together a game plan, that maybe one of them would be ready to roll in 2 to 3 years. Assuming Alley is as good as he is, and he gets scooped up by a Power 5 program, kind of like what Jeff Levy did, to a degree. I mean, they could be taking that approach, and maybe that's the conversations that they're having, because Alley's, what was he named? He was just named 247 Sports 30 under 30 list. I mean, he is a fast rising
Yeah.
name, and he
Big
was at
time.
Clemson with Dabo Sweeney, won a couple national championships with Brent Venables, worked hand in hand with him. I mean, on paper, I understand the stops. He's going, he's leaving Jacksonville State to go
Yeah.
be
That's going to be the
Oklahoma's
knock.
head coach, or not head coach, defensive coordinator.
DC. That's what all the naysayers are going to say is, he coached at Jacksonville State or Louisiana Monroe or even Boise State, when he first left Clemson. That's going to be the concern, I guess. But I mean, go back to what you're saying about internally and how the guys might feel. Because I kind of thought that at first too, but this is the first time we're hearing of this news, right? With Ted Roof leaving, with Zach Alley coming in. I'm sure when they made this decision to, part ways with Ted Roof, or try to whatever, that didn't happen today. That news
No.
broke today. This has been something that has probably been known internally for a couple weeks or so. So I'm sure Brent Venables sat down and talked with all the guys you mentioned: Jay Valai, Brandon Hall, Todd Bates, you name it, Miguel Chavis. And I would bet that they came to it. I'm sure he identified, hey, this is Zach Alley. This is the guy I'm looking for, whatever I'm looking at. And they probably did come up with a plan, kind of like you're saying, is what I would bet, is that they're all gonna, because if he truly wants to get less hands on with the defense, I imagine he's gonna just kind of say, hey boys, it's your show now, and it's gonna be the 4 or 5 of them, with Zach Alley, the one with the title.
I would think so. I mean, I don't see them, people leaving at this point or anything like that, but it's just things like this. We just don't know. There has to be some sort of plan that they have in place. And I think Zach Alley will have all the support system, there for him. He's going to have a lot of experienced coaches to make sure it all works. And this is not the first hire out of Jacksonville State under Brent Venables. J.R. Sandlin came from Jacksonville State. So we're going back to the well, and he's been pretty good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hopefully there's some dudes at Jacksonville State on the defense that we don't know about yet, that Zach Alley has identified. And, maybe just maybe we see them in the Crimson and Green.
Yeah. And
Never
so
hurts.
Alley comes in. He's got a defense that's on the, incline. They're improving. It's not like taking over Alex Grinch where you're starting from, square one, the closet, the pantry's bare, everything else. You've got talent. I think a big advantage also with Alley, not only his familiarity with everyone, but he's young. I think there's something to be said when you're 29 and you're recruiting 16, 17, 18-year-olds, and you're coaching 18, 19, 20, 21-year-olds, 22-year-olds. You have the ability to relate, and you're not so far removed from the trends and things like that. I think there's something to be said that if you got a really good young coach, you players want to play for them. I mean, you
Those
look in
guys
the
always recruit
NFL.
well. Yeah, I mean, those
Yeah,
guys
in
always
NFL and
recruit well.
college, it's the younger guys. I mean, outside of like a Nick Saban, and I mean, he's just Nick Saban's in a different category. For the most part, it's young coaches or younger coaches, and those tend to do well because kids can relate, and
100%.
that's
100%.
just the reality. And when you're recruiting high schoolers and you're coaching young men, I mean, literally 18-year-olds and just left home for the first time. So a lot that we don't quite know. I'm excited. I mean, he comes in with a lot of his resume looks good, a lot of hype, a lot of he's going to be coming in with a lot of expectations. I guess the bar will be set high.
Always is, right? But I
But
mean, if Brent Venables handpicked this guy, like it seems, I mean, he recommended him for a job at Louisiana Monroe, so he's clearly, he'll go to bat for him, if you will, here. So I mean, if BV's got full trust in him, especially to hand over the defense, pretty much, I think we should expect some big things.
I agree. The last thought is first year going in the SEC, 2 new coordinators,
Just
new
how I wanted it.
quarterback. This is how we're going in, starting with a bang, right?
Hey, if we can pull off if we go 9-3 next year or so, I think we'll chalk it up as a win.
Because
I think that's
9-3
kind of where
in
I
the
see us.
SEC gets us into the playoffs in a 12-team format.
Hell yeah, it does.
So
I can't wait.
All right. Well, that's all I've got. Do you have anything else? If not, in the video?
Just give us your Zach Alley thoughts. Are you excited? Are you he's coming from a small school naysayer? Because I promise you that they'll be out there.
Oh, for sure. For sure. So, all right, made it this far. Be sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel, turn the notification bell on, follow us on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, Apple, Spotify, and TikTok. Everything's linked in the description below. And we're 50 subscribers away from 6,200. Help us get us there and turn on the notification bell so you know when we go live every Tuesday night at 8:30 p.m. Central. Catch you guys next time.